My beautiful wife, Lena, was especially playful tonight. After dinner, as we sat on the couch, she jumped onto my lap and hugged me tightly. I'm Jacoby, but my friends call me D. I fell in love with Lena over 5 years ago, and we celebrated our 4th wedding anniversary last month. We met right after I left the Marines. During my time in the service, I got into weight training and self-defense, spending my last year as a drill instructor helping recruits become strong soldiers. It was fun, but I knew I wouldn't stay in the military forever. I had plans. After I got out, I used my savings to start my own gym and health trainer business. The business grew quickly, and I devoted all my time to expanding it and helping people. I showed people they could change their bodies because I am 6'4" and 255 pounds of muscle. I loved seeing people who were initially unsure of themselves become strong and confident. 6 months after opening the gym, I met Lena, the sister of one of my clients. We connected right away. We looked funny together because Lena is 5'4", a foot shorter, and 145 pounds lighter at just 110 pounds. She was thin and innocent at 22, while I was 26 and more experienced. She wasn't into training, but we loved spending time together. Our romance quickly turned into marriage, a year later. Our bond was strong, and we enjoyed our time together. To be honest, she was the best lover I had ever been with, attentive, loving, and uninhibited in bed. She met all my needs, and I loved her with all my heart. As a health trainer with a hard body and good looks, I constantly got propositions from the ladies I trained. It was a constant battle to keep things professional. I even had to install video cameras throughout the gym to protect myself from false claims of sexual assault. Sometimes, the women got angry when I rejected their advances. I set up the cameras with a remote connection to my home so Lena could look in on me whenever she liked. She knew how committed I was to her. Financially, we were in good shape since my business had grown nicely, and Lena worked as a real estate agent to help with extra income. Last Sunday afternoon, we were relaxing in the living room with a bottle of wine, and Lena was more playful than usual. She giggled, jumped on my lap, kissed me, and acted like a high school girl. I had to admit, I loved the attention when she acted like this. She always knew how to make me feel loved. Things took a fast turn for our relationship when the reason for her playfulness and extra affection was revealed. As she rubbed her hands through my hair, she smiled at me and calmly said, "Sweetheart, Eris is taking me out to dinner next Friday night. You're okay with that, right?" It took me a minute to process what she had just said. I was sure I didn't hear her correctly and just enjoyed her wonderful smile. When I didn't respond, she asked again in a sweet voice, "You don't mind, right?" "Lena, what are you asking me?" "I'm sorry, I don't understand." "Silly, Eric from the office asked me out for dinner next Friday, and I kind of told him yes." Now that I had grasped what she said, I was certain I misunderstood her request. "Are you asking permission to have dinner with Eric next week, like a date?" "Not a date, really. Just dinner and maybe a movie." I sat there shocked, unable to believe my loyal wife, the love of my life, was asking to go on a date with another guy. "Lena, that's what a date is. Do you want to go out with another guy? He's such a nice guy, and we get along well at work. He makes me laugh and feel good. I don't see it as a date, more like drinks after work, but this time, dinner and a movie." My head was spinning. Surely, she understood what she was asking, but I don't think she did. "Lena, you know I've never gone out with another woman or even thought about it. How can you want to go out with another guy? Don't be jealous." He's nothing like you, and it's just one night. I will only love you, and I don't feel anything for him. But I want to do this. I already told him yes. I hope you're not mad. I wasn't mad. Mad was a much smaller word for how I felt at that moment. Fortunately, my military training allowed me to remain calm. You already accepted, I get it now. I picked up my cell phone and searched for the number of one of the ladies who had been after me for several months. With Lena still on my lap, playing with my hair, I dialed the phone. Hi, Angel, this is Dee. I'm good, thanks. Listen, is that offer still open for Friday night? It is great. My wife just told me she wanted an open marriage, and I immediately thought of you. That will be fun. I'll see you this week, and we can plan it out. Bye. Lena stopped rubbing my hair and looked at me with squinted eyes. Who's Angel? One of my clients. We get along really well, and she makes me laugh, so we're going out on Friday night, just like you. Instantly pissed, Lena jumped off my lap and started screaming at me. I couldn't believe she didn't see the hypocrisy of her actions. I can't believe you're going with some girl. I won't stand for you cheating on me and going with other girls, Dee. Trying not to laugh, I said, but it's okay for you to go out with a guy from work. How is it different? It was just a night of fun for you, and now I want the same, Lena. I've never wanted to be with another woman until you told me you wanted to be with another man. Do you really think I'd let you go on a date and just stay home alone? She looked at me sadly, like she lost her favorite puppy. You started this, and we're going to see it through. You'll go on your date with Brian, and I'll go on my date with Angel. Whatever happens, happens. I hope we can stay faithful and keep our marriage strong. After Friday night, I'll be sleeping in the guest room, and sex between us is out of the question until I decide if I want to stay married to you. The thought of you wanting to be with another man hurts me too much to even want to touch you right now. I feel nothing for you. Lena was crying and angry at the same time. Usually, I would have held her and tried to comfort her, but not after this. I waited a few minutes for her to calm down and continued, next week, you and I are going to counseling to figure out why I'm not enough for you. Maybe, just maybe, if you can make me understand why I'm not enough for you, then perhaps we can stay married. But let me make it clear, whatever happens now is all on you. The thought of you even wanting to be with another man makes me want to divorce you this instant, but I'm mature enough to work through this. Depending on what happens Friday night and how we feel after going out with other people will determine our future. Just remember, Lena, whatever happens is all on you and your decision to go on that date with Brian. Still crying and confused, she didn't say anything and left the room. About 10 minutes later, I heard her on her cell phone talking to her sister, which I anticipated. I guess her sister told her she was out of her freaking mind because an hour later, she came back to me acting sweet and innocent again. Sweetheart, I might have made a mistake about going out with Brian. I'm going to cancel it. I don't want to be with anyone else. That's your choice, Lena, but you've started something that I plan to finish. You can go out or stay home, but I'm not canceling my date with Angel. You told me how much you wanted this and hurt me on purpose. The only way for me to deal with this is to see where it leads. Maybe you're right, and we need to start dating other people and have an open marriage. You need to understand that there are always consequences for your choices. This was your decision, and remember, you accepted his date before talking to me. That hurt, and I can't forgive that. She tried to explain again. Dee, it wasn't a date. You need to believe me. It was an after-hours thing. It's not that important. I'll cancel it. Can't we just go out together Friday night? I ignored her pleas, grabbed a beer, and headed out to the patio for some peace. I slept in the guest room that night and the rest of the week, listening to Lena crying all evening. The next day, I got a call from her sister, Helen. "D, are you really going out with another woman this week? You can't do that to Lena. She loves you so much." "Helen, clearly you don't know the entire situation or weren't told the whole story. Your little sister accepted a date from a coworker without even discussing it with me. She came home and announced she was going to go on this date without caring about my feelings or our marriage. I am definitely going to go on a date, and we will see where we are afterward. I've been monogamous and never even thought of being with another woman since the day I met your sister. Truthfully, I love her more than anything, but I'm not sure I want to stay married to a woman that wants other men. That's going to be hard to get past. Do you understand that, Helen?" "Yes, Dee, I do. I didn't realize she was that stupid. Please be patient with her. She probably doesn't even realize she's hurting you and thinks it's no big deal." "Helen, I am being patient. I haven't kicked her out yet, but she will have to deal with the consequences." After talking with Lena, Laura helped her understand the damage she caused to our marriage and my feelings by dating someone else. Lena apologized and begged me to cancel our dates, but I was determined to even things up and show her what she had done. "Hearing your wife wants to date another man is something I hope no other man has to hear. Please don't judge my decisions until you've been in my shoes. If it happens to you, tell me how to stay patient and forgiving." "No way. I made plans for Sophia to pick me up that night so she could meet my wife and know it was okay to go out with a married man." On Friday night, even though Lena didn't want to go out with her coworker, I insisted she honor her commitment with him. She didn't like me calling him her boyfriend and tried to assure me he was just a friend. Lena dressed nicely for her date with Brian, wearing a cute dress and looking her usual pretty self. At least she didn't try to look hot for the date, which gave me some hope for us. She was nervous about meeting Angel, but I insisted she meet my date to reassure her about our open marriage. She argued with me about the open marriage, but I ignored her. I was being difficult, but in my mind, it was justified. Lena's eyes popped out of her head when Sophie came in at 6 p.m. Sophie was the total opposite of Lena. Lena was a petite small girl, and Sophie was 5'10" and in great shape from all the training. Her large C-cup breasts were spilling out over her dress, and she looked incredible standing next to me. I wore my tight-fitting sports jacket that revealed my muscular body. I even made Lena take a few photos of us together before we left, which really pissed her off. We made a good-looking couple and could have been posing for the cover of a sports training magazine. I saw Lena seething with anger and jealousy, but there was nothing she could do. She finally realized that she might have uncorked a bottle that she may not be able to close. I was laughing inside when I introduced them and heard Sophie say, "Dee told me all about your open marriage, and I'm happy for you. I've been after this hunk of a man for the last year, and I was so excited when he called me. Someday, I heard you also have a new boyfriend. Good for you." I could see Lena's head about to burst into flames, but she couldn't reply fast enough because the doorbell rang, and she realized it was Brian. She got all nervous as I opened the door and let him in. I was a little surprised to see who she was going out with. Eric was maybe 5'5" and almost as tall as Lena in her 4-inch heels. He was not an attractive man. I had no idea what she was thinking. He weighed maybe 150 pounds, was losing his hair, and was clearly not a physical threat but still posed a problem in our relationship. I think the poor guy was going to piss his pants when he saw my massive body towering over him. His hand felt small, cold, and sweaty as I gave him a strong handshake for fun. My wife is ready for your date night. Have fun, I said. He just nodded and looked at Lena for help. Sophie and I laughed as we left, knowing Lena was going to be upset. I didn't feel bad and hoped it would all end well. When I got home around 6 a.m. the next morning, Sophie dropped me off. We had a long, warm goodnight kiss in the driveway, which I was sure Lena saw from the window. Sophie and I had a nice dinner, went dancing at one of her favorite clubs, took a walk on the beach after the club closed, and then had breakfast before she drove me home. It was an interesting night. She was fun to be with, a great dancer, had a great sense of humor, and was a spectacular kisser. We didn't go any further than a kiss, but there was a chemistry there that I knew could lead to a very exciting relationship. However, Lena was the only thing on my mind that entire night. When we were dancing, I thought about my wife. When we were on the beach, it brought back memories of Lena and me in Hawaii. Every moment, except for the goodnight kiss, was filled with thoughts of Lena. With a happy and sad heart, I walked into my house, wondering if it would ever be my home again. Lena was up waiting for me when I walked into the house. As soon as she saw me, I was greeted with, "Nice kiss. What else did you do all night?" Ignoring her remark, I said, "Good morning, Lena. How was your date? Eric seems to be a nice guy." "Did you screw her?" she howled in an angry voice. "Lena, it was only our first date. You should know me better than that." "First date? Are you seeing her again?" "I don't know." "Are you seeing your boyfriend again?" "Of course not. I don't want him. I want you." "Well, you wanted him last week. What changed?" I realized that I was an idiot and thought I could go out and just have fun with a guy, just like I would with one of my girlfriends. You know, just hang out. "But you had to take out that supermodel and stick it in my face," she said, crying into one of the tissues that littered the couch. She must have been there all night, crying and waiting for me to return. It was clear that she now understood what she had done. Maybe she did see him as just a friend, like one of her girlfriends. He wasn't a threat, and I might have overreacted. I'm still shocked that any woman could think her husband would be okay with her going out with another guy, even if it was innocent. I took her in my arms and held her close. "Lena, I love you, but I can't live with a woman who wants to be with other men for any reason. I won't tolerate cheating. If it happens again, if you lie to me or do it behind my back, I will kick you out and divorce you on the spot. Do you understand?" She threw her arms around me and kissed me. "Yes, baby. I would never cheat on you, and I never wanted to be with anyone else but you. This was different." "You still didn't tell me how your date with Eric went. What happened?" "It wasn't a date. What you did with that Barbie doll was a date. We had dinner, but he was so shaken up after seeing you and hurting his hand that he took me home right after dinner. It wasn't fun, and I had a terrible time. He dropped me off before 8 p.m. and I've been here thinking about what you were doing with her all night." Then, seeing you kiss her like that, she started sobbing again. I held her again and told her everything would be fine. I did laugh to myself, thinking about the little guy meeting her Muslim husband. After I shook his hand, I was fairly sure he was going to be a gentleman that night, which was another reason I waited to meet him before Sophie and I left. "Lena, let us forget about last night for now, but I'm serious about counseling. I still need to understand some things, and you also need to understand my feelings. If we can get through that and I can trust you again, then I won't see Sophie or any of the other women that continue to ask me out." Her eyes opened wide when she realized Sofieva's not the only threat. We spent the day in bed making sweet love and reconnecting. I started sleeping back in my own bed and began the path back to sanity. Counseling was the answer to our situation. Dr. Collins was empathetic and nurturing. She had to explain to Lena how her actions made me feel insignificant and hurt. Lena didn't look at Eric as a man but only as a friend. She tried to explain that she never saw it as a date, just a night out with her friend Brian. Dr. Collins finally made Lena understand that in a monogamous relationship, you don't spend time with other men and ignore your husband. Lena tried to complain about how vindictive I was by dating a woman who was clearly sexier and better looking. She said it wasn't fair and wasn't right. Dr. Collins explained things from my point of view and shared some thoughts that calmed Lena down. When it was my turn to speak, I explained that I now understood her intentions, but I still wouldn't accept her spending time with other men. Lena, I love you, and you broke my heart when you told me you were going out with Brian. My military training kicked in, and I decided to fight. If you were going to see other men, then I would respond by dating other women. I never wanted to do that, and I regret it happened, but this was on you. In the future, if you do something like that again, you will have divorce papers within a week. I will not put up with a cheating wife. I realize and understand that you didn't consider this a date, which is why I'm willing to work on our marriage, but don't ever try that again. Everyone was quiet after that outburst, and things had changed. Lena was more in tune with my feelings, and we talked more and turned this ridiculous event into a stronger marriage. We continued therapy for several months and found new ways to keep each other as our main focus in the relationship. Sofieva's understanding and even called Lena to tell her she would back off and not go after her husband, but if she ever wanted to ditch him, she would be happy to step in. Lena understood that she had me and that she could lose me to another woman very rapidly. She never gave me a reason to be jealous or think about dating another man again. She understood that dates have meaning and that bad choices have consequences. Lena and Eric stayed friends, but Eric was too scared to try anything more than just being colleagues. I realize that sometimes women don't always understand traditional views.